Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Planet X News. This is Scott from the Nibiru channel. All I have to say is, wow, people. Wow. You want to talk about some Planet X Nibiru wormwood drama? All I have to say is, you hear that? Wow, people. Wow. You want to talk about some Planet X? Anyways, listen, ladies and gentlemen, you know, obviously a lot of you have been, I guess, privy to all of these crazy, erratic type of lunatic videos that are going around and around and around on YouTube. You know, this stuff is really, really, really crazy. Let me share my screen with you for just a moment here. Give me a second. That's going to be our logo for right now. Mm-hmm. Well, listen, folks, I have the doctor here with us, and we're going to be going over two articles that she wrote a few days ago. Mm-hmm. And she's been very, very busy adding some chapters to her book that she's writing. And, you know, it just seems that there's a lot of people out there that don't want her to write this book. They're now referring to her as a whistleblower. Okay, well, you know.
Yes, Scott. And I think before we do our documents, I think I need to address something. And that is,
yeah, sure. You know, the stage is all yours, Doctor.
Yes, thank you, Scott. And I think it's to do with Chris Potter. And I have listened to his latest video, which he seemed to address to me. And I would like to respond to it. I'd like to say to him, what kind of a friend is he? Why does he give away private and confidential information to the whole world? Why does he threaten me and you when we have been good friends, the three of us? And I'd like to say to him that I'm here out of my own free will. Scott has been a good friend. He has a wonderful heart. He's been a perfect gentleman. And I think Chris Potter's accusations were very painful. And he has acted like an adversary rather than a friend. And I think it's very sad that it has turned out to be that way. I really thought he was a friend of mine. And I don't think he's acting like a friend anymore. And I'm actually very hurt and upset about it.
Well, you know, listen, Doc, you know, I'd have to agree with you on all of that. You know, ladies and gentlemen, listen, you know, I've gone over this information with the majority of you. For most of you that have been with me for almost a year now, I don't know if any of you are actually present, but for all of you that have been, you know, that have been with me for a long time, you know very well that I'm pretty much the only one on YouTube that researches Planet X, Nibiru, Wormwood, Rogue Planet, whatever you want to call it. We already know that we are facing the biggest cover-up in world history. I mean, this is it, folks. I mean, this has been covered up for more than 30, 35 years now. Okay, all of the proof is there. It's all there. And how do you put this, you know? I mean, once again, you all have to realize that this is very, very critical information. Yeah, possibly national security threat. I don't, you know, hey, look, you can call it what you want. the bottom line is, I've told you all many, many times before, the world governments, they don't want to lose control. I mean, you already see what is happening in the media every single day with the United States government. You already see what's happening in the UK. You already see what's happening in Germany. You see this. They don't want to lose control. Mm-hmm. We're facing the possibilities of worldwide disasters, possibly massive amounts of death and destruction. Earlier this morning, we were faced with a situation once again dealing with our sun. Pretty big shock wave comes in directly from the sun, coming from a pretty large coronal hole. And then, you know, we're now being faced with this big sunspot AR 2665. We have many, many possibilities of disasters, you know. And first thing this morning, as soon as I wake up, I see the information, I'm on it, I'm researching it, I'm investigating it. I look at the earthquake situation, just earthquakes all over magnitude 4 or 5, all over the planet. All over the planet. Oh, okay, you know. What is it, just a freak occurrence? No, not at all, ladies and gentlemen, not at all. But getting into the logo that you see there on your screen, you have to realize that there are operations that are set up by agencies to discredit this information. And you know, you really got to think outside of the box. I've investigated these agent tactics for quite a while. I knew all about it before I decided to start publicizing Planet X material on YouTube. I got myself fully versed in just about everything, and I prepared myself for the onslaught. I knew it was coming. I knew that, you know, the more and more I poked around and the more and more I investigated and the bigger my YouTube channel became, I knew eventually they would sniff me out. No problem. I deal with it. I deal with the threats, the remarks, the stupid videos. And then, you know, you really have to start looking at the people that are making the videos. Now, I've mentioned this to others. I'm going to mention it to all of you one more time, and then we're going to put all this to rest. You have one of the little trolls making the videos in the live chat right now, Twiggy. And she's a troll from over in the UK. And she's been on a warpath today, making all kinds of videos about me. And you have to understand something. This is what these people are paid to do. Don't let them hide behind the shadow of, oh, people are going to commit suicide because of your fear mongering. That's all a damn lie. It's all a lie. We're not responsible for any of that, but yet they want you to believe that, you know, this happens and this is the little diversionary tactic that they use. And ladies and gentlemen, I have already shown you multiple times the troll handbook. It was put together by the NSA. This all began back around 9/11, the tragedy in New York. We all know about that. There were people coming out and they were trying to produce evidence that this was a government operation, which it was. That began the life of the troll, as they call it, because that's exactly what these people are doing. That's what they get paid to do. That's what Twiggy gets paid to do. That's what Logan Runnan gets paid to do. That's what Daza gets paid to do. That's what Jake and Mari at WTF Sky get paid to do. And the factions over in the UK, that's what they get paid to do. Now, let's go to the NSA. They literally have an entire floor of an office building completely filled and set up like a large telemarketing office. And there are agents, which are pretty much basically new to the NSA, and they are assigned these crap jobs, and they're given a handbook, they're given rebuttals, they're given comments, and they're given a complete list of how to go about trolling, an outline. And I've already publicized this. You know, I got myself into hot water back in September of 2006 because I found the handbook. It was forwarded to me in a PDF file, and I blew it out there because these people do not want the information getting out. And if the information does get out, well, they try to discredit you. At the same time, they're monitoring you, and they're monitoring the information that you are putting out there, because basically you're almost like kind of helping them, you know, just like a second investigator out there. And yeah, they're probably using your information. They're at NASA and whatever and blah, blah, blah. But just take a look at what I'm going to tell you now, okay? Let's take a look at the laws of probability. We all know what probability means. You know, you take a quarter or a coin, flip it 10 times. Note down how many times it's heads, how many times it's tails. What are the probability? What's the probability? What is the probability of the entire world, billions of people, YouTube, billions and billions of videos and watched minutes, a lot of Nibiru and Planet X channels putting out all kinds of information? But what's the probability of a very, very small faction of trolls centering in on me? Only me. Think about it. Mm-hmm. I've put out over 800 videos in 11 months. My YouTube channel has over 13 million views that YouTube has allowed me to put out there. They've probably robbed me of another 13 million. Mm-hmm. The fact of the matter is, the logo you're looking at on your screen, well, these are the people that are involved. They have a handler, just like Twiggy has a handler, just like Jake, Mari, and others. And when the physicist came on board and, you know, she was looking for some help in getting her reports out there, you know, maybe there's a possibility, you know, she chose the wrong person. And
yes,
then,
Scott, I think I did. And
I think you did also. And at the same time, folks, they tried to contain her on a small YouTube channel, meaning, okay, they're not worried about the information getting out to 3,000 or 4,000 people. They don't care.
Yeah.
And then, you know, the doctor started to see different things and signs that, hey, this information's not getting out through this one small YouTube channel. So doctor, you know, I'll let you take it from here, you know, and then we're going to get into these reports. We're going to just put all this crap to rest. But what prompted you to email me?
Well, Scott, the information, as you say, wasn't getting out because Steve Olson was refusing to do all my articles. He was just using one now and then. And I didn't even think it was explaining them as well as I would have liked. And I believe that I needed more help. That this is why I came to you. But I also wanted to add that the fact that we have brown dwarf stars in the solar system is the truth, and the governments of the world are trying to cover it up from the population. And in fact, I believe that, as we named this live stream, this is the biggest cover up in the history of the world. They do not want anybody to know. And we are telling the truth. And part of the evidence that we are telling the truth is by how they attack us. And why so many channels are after us and trying to discourage us from telling the truth. In fact, if we were not telling the truth, they would leave us alone. And, you know, again, I'd like to add how disappointed I am with Chris Potter, because not only did he divulge certain information, which I thought he as a friend would leave it as private information, he actually lied about lots of it. So I think he has shown himself to be working at least like one of those trolls.
Oh, you know, listen, I would have to agree. You know, folks, you know, I helped Chris tremendously. You know, I actually got up. I mean, I was usually getting up around 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning to start my work and deal with the 6-hour difference in time to work with the doctor and get things prepared for that day. So, you know, Chris really didn't know how to copyright strike and, you know, privacy strike these idiot trolls making these dumb videos using your voice and using your image and things of that nature. So, you know, I mean, I knew or presumed that it upset him. So I was actually helping him out by spending hours of my time in the morning doing this for him so it wouldn't upset him. You know, just trying to be a friend. I never lied to the guy. I never lied to him, not once. Yes, there was an issue with the security of the doctor traveling. And, you know, we spoke about that many, many times. You know, it wasn't my decision. You know, the doctor was traveling by herself to, you know, another country and then to another city and then to another city. And, you know, I mean, you know, Chris was talking about, hey, you know, my microphone might be bugged, my apartment, my computer might be bugged. So, you know, it came to the decision to keep her travel arrangements undisclosed. Big deal. If it was me, I wouldn't want to tell anybody either. But people get butthurt. Whatever. Then, you know, whatever these trolls can grasp their hands on, they turn it around and they twist it. Just like the two individuals that you have in the chat right now, Mr. Brandon Shipman and his fat wife, Sarah Shipman. Now, these two are just absolutely disgusting individuals. And, you know, they were turned into YouTube trolls. They were basically recruited. And, you know, here they are in the chat. I'll leave them in there. I'll leave them in there for you guys to abuse a little bit. And even the other trolls don't like them. They actually all fight. That's how disorganized these people are. But the NSA, they do monitor all of our information. The professional agents, not these wannabes that get their secret decoder ring from a Cracker Jack box. Okay. The professionals, they do monitor all of our information. They do monitor all YouTube videos, all Facebook, all Twitter. We all know that. Okay. So let me get out of this picture here. So you obviously got my point. I'm just going to collapse this because I might need that picture again. Now, do any of you know who Pastor Paul Begley is? Pastor Paul, you know, he gets a lot of heat. He gets a lot of heat for, you know, his online ministry, his reporting. And, you know, I follow Pastor Paul. I enjoy his commentary. And last year, out of nowhere, he got a visit. Pastor Paul got a visit from a real NSA agent. And Pastor Paul, publicized the information on an interview with Lynn Liaz. And I watch Lynn too, you know. She's a great reporter. I love her information. But I'm going to read this to you. And this is true. It says, back in July of 2016, 2 NSA agents met with Pastor Paul Begley and his wife for a very intense lunch meeting. After sharing their credentials, they asked to know all of Pastor Paul's news sources. They shared their agency's displeasure with all alternative news media sources and warned that they have many ways to kill Pastor Paul Begley, adding they would not hesitate to do so. The agent said that the NSA is listening to everything he says, even if his phone is turned off, and claimed they could be in his bedroom within 20 seconds at any time they wanted. The agent warned, "You have too many followers." The agent gave Pastor Paul Begley a list of things the NSA would do to send a message to anyone they want to silence, to let them know the NSA is watching and prepared to take action. Number 1, unexplained car accidents. Individuals involved in the accident have phony identities. So when we follow up with insurance claims, we discover they don't even exist. Visits from NSA agents disguised as someone else, coming for a phony reason, attempting to trap you or find some way to destroy your credibility. Video insertion attempts. I don't know what that means. Dropped phone calls to your home. Listen, folks, let me tell you something. In 2016, they burned up 2 brand new cell phones of mine. One of them right in my hand. Mean, vulgar, hateful, ungodly postings on your website, your YouTube channel, your Facebook page. Written hate mail delivered by regular mail. I get it in my email.
I got some of that too, Scott, at my work email.
Oh, yes. Number 7, creating and posting YouTube videos filled with lies to discredit you. Number 7, people, creating and posting YouTube videos filled with lies to discredit you. You know, I'm gonna give you guys a link to this, because not too long after this, Pastor Paul, well, he was almost killed in a car accident. I'm going to get right down to it. Last year, Pastor Begley was in his car, stopped at a traffic light, when another car swerved across 3 lanes of traffic, hitting his vehicle broadside, crashing into his rear tire at 60 miles per hour. The other driver took the blame for the accident and provided his insurance information. However, the next day when Pastor Begley followed up with the insurance company, he found out that this person did not exist and therefore had no policy. Yeah. Alrighty then. And then Pastor Paul got a second visit from this individual. Same kind of intimidation. And ladies and gentlemen, this does occur. And this has been happening to me for a year now. is so much evidence pertaining to this. If you read right here, government trolls are using psychology-based influence techniques on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Twitter.
Yes.
Okay. We know this is happening. So listen, folks, you know, I mean, this is beginning to be a big waste of my time. This is what they want. They want to waste my time, waste the doctor's time. They put out a bunch of disinformation and they hope that you go for it. Well, okay, here's the deal. If you believe all of the trash that Chris Potter's putting out in his threatening videos, then go right ahead. Go over, subscribe to his channel, follow him, do whatever you want. But myself and the doctor, we're going to continue to steamroll right over these people on a daily basis. I don't care who they are. I will fight with each and every one of them. And they know I will. And they think that it's going to waste my time. That's what they're trying to do. So, it is what it is. You're all grown adults. You all have a brain. You know what the deal is. Okay? You know what the deal is. There are two big government factions. One is headed by the NSA, and the other faction is in the UK. There's also one in Canada. The one in the UK is called the Joint Threat Research Intelligence Group, JTRIG. Now, these are the jerk-offs over in the UK. That's the group that Twiggy belongs to, and the other people from the UK. It's real, people. It's real. Why? Because they are perpetrating the biggest cover-up in world history. The governments do not want to lose control of the world populations. They want to keep you dumbed down, and they want to maintain their control. I have mentioned this before, and I will mention it again. We outnumber them. We as a people outnumber all of the militaries on this planet combined. If we banded together, well, we would give them a problem. So, they go and they do these crazy, stupid things. Whether some of you believe it, maybe some of you don't. But, I don't have time to, well, maybe I'm going to use the wrong terminology here, but I don't have time to babysit the situation. I've been here for a year grinding away and trying to wake people up pertaining to this situation. I'm not going anywhere. Neither is the doctor. Mm-hmm. But they want to make sure that we have problems, and they create doubt in your minds. I've seen all the comments. Listen, folks, these people are sitting behind computers and they have five or six accounts open, and they're commenting in the comment section with one account and answering that comment with another account to make it look like a conversation's going back and forth, and doubt is being created. And then you jump into the conversation, and then they cast the doubt into your mind. That's how it works. And they have a very strict handbook that they go through. Listen, if any of you guys follow Richie from Boston, I love Richie, man. He's a good dude. He tells it like it is. The other day, he publicized more information on this, this outline. Pretty wild stuff, but it's true. It's true. They wanted to try to contain the doctor on a small YouTube channel. She kind of started figuring it out. And now she can clearly see with her own eyes that, yeah, they were trying to contain her and stop the flow of information. They kind of knew that they weren't going to be able to stop her per per se, period. But they just wanted to contain her and limit the amount, the number of people that were viewing the information. And they're still doing it. They're still doing it. So you all know that these videos that these people put out, they're all crap. They're all full of shit. Chris Potter's video today was absolutely ridiculous, saying that he's kicking me out of the community. What community? I don't belong to any damn community. And he calls himself the gatekeeper. The gatekeeper. Okay. You know, you're the gatekeeper of your own gate. You're not the keeper of my gate. That's for damn sure. You can threaten me all you want, because all you did is you turned into one of those people, because that is exactly who you are. And everybody sees that now. What do you think about that, Doc? What do you think about that?
Yes,
You watched that video.
I did watch it, and I actually was shocked. Chris seemed to be acting. He didn't seem to be telling the truth at all. He seemed to be using all the information that I gave him in a negative way in order to make both of us look bad. And I thought it was a very indecent thing to do, not how a friend should act at all. And I was shocked. I must say, I was shocked. But I guess he is the kind of person he really is. He is basically showing his true colors.
Oh, I have to agree with that. And did I not call every single step on target many, many days before?
Yes.
Exactly.
You did. You said, well, let's see what Chris does. But I think he will show himself to actually be a troll. And this is exactly what has happened.
And where does he show up? WTF Sky.
That's right.
Where has Steve Olson been showing up in every live stream? Over at WTF Sky.
Yes.
Where did Chris Potter threaten to go do an interview? Dazza the cameraman. See, ladies and gentlemen, they all work together. And, you know, people are assigned to different channels. This faction is assigned to me. Do you understand that? These people are directly assigned to me. Nobody else. Me. Why? Because I am getting this information out there and people gravitate towards me. You know, matter of fact, the doctor saw that today.
Yes, I did, Scott. We went out for breakfast and I saw how people just came up to you and started talking to you. It's just like they are drawn to you. And I thought, yeah, I can see that now. But I must say that I'm not surprised, because I was drawn to you myself and I really like what's inside you, the goodness. And so I'm not surprised.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I see the same in you also. And, you know, I see the same in many, many others that are on YouTube and that are trying to awaken all of us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, there's a lot of us that get a lot of slack. You
Yes.
know, people criticize, you know, BP Earthwatch. They criticize Pastor Paul Begley. They criticize this one and that one, the Higher Truth channel. They criticize Jeff P.
Yes.
You know, but listen, you know, we are all out there. We are doing our damnedest to uncover the information. So instead of us all splitting up and going our own ways, you know, that's what they want. They want that disunity. They want you to fall apart. But we're not going to do that. Look, ladies and gentlemen, I'm no liar. They've said that I'm a rapist, a child molester, a child beater, a wife beater, a woman beater, a murderer. Let's see, they didn't throw in bank robbery yet. I don't know. I mean, they've labeled me pretty much with everything in the penal code. You know, I don't know. I mean, really, I mean, God Almighty, I should still be in prison for all of those things.
And it's all, Scott, because you are telling the truth. If you weren't telling the truth, they wouldn't attack you in the way they have. They just proving to the whole world that we are telling the truth, and they are fighting the truth.
Oh, there's no doubt.
Yes.
There's no doubt. You know, I mean, you all can say whatever you want. Brandon Pittman, Sarah Pittman, husband and wife team in the chat right now. I mean, they can say whatever they want about me. I've never done anything to these people. They all came after me first. And it's just my personality to stand up and fight. I've never walked away from a fight in my life, and I never will. Maybe that's why, I don't know, maybe that's why people like my personality. Because I will stand up and fight. I will stick up for the underdog. And yeah, it's gotten me in trouble a couple times. You know, a guy dragging a little puppy down the street by its neck on a leash right in front of me while I was sitting out at a little diner with my grandmother having a bite to eat. Yeah, I picked up the dog. I jerked the leash out of the guy's hand. I didn't want to see the little puppy being abused. So, you know, the guy went to throw a punch at me, so I knocked him the fuck out. You know, big deal. It just happened to be that, you know, I get arrested. That guy goes to the hospital. They run a background check on that guy. And he was actually wanted in the state of Michigan for methamphetamine manufacturing. And yeah, the judge let me go, thanked me, and I walked out. But see, you know, they don't tell you about the cases, all of them that have been dismissed, and then they make up all this crazy stuff. But yet, you know, Brandon and Sarah in the chat right now, I mean, they're ex-junkies, pill poppers, heroin junkies. They both have criminal records, but they want you to forgive them because they're now drug counselors. Yeah, right. Whatever. The bottom line is, folks, we got serious problems right now with our planet. We have serious problems with our sun, and we have serious problems in our solar system, whether you want to believe it or not. And you obviously believe something, because you wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be following some of the channels that you do, because you all see it. You see it each and every day now. Things are getting weirder and weirder and weirder by the day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you're outside at nighttime tonight, take a look at the sky along the horizon. The sky is not even black anymore. It's like a dark charcoal gray, and right at the horizon, there's this like pink or purple color right above the horizon. Every night, at least where I live, I see it. I'm getting emails left and right, all this information coming into our Planet X News Facebook page. Man, so what are you going to debunk? I mean, they debunk these videos in the worst way. They tell you a half a truth. They use a quarter of the information to twist and turn to their advantage. You know, they try to discredit everything that is said. Okay, whatever. Who cares? The fact of the matter is, we know something's up, and the doctor's trying to use her intelligence and her background to help us out. And now they want to tramp all over her and, you know, use her back as a doormat, and she's not going to stand for it. Are you, doctor?
Not at all, Scott. I'm learning from you.
Exactly. You know, and I told the doctor in many, many conversations, okay, you're going to have to toughen your skin up, because these people are going to come after you, and they're going to come after you hard, hardcore. And they have. But she's, you know, she's catching on to their tactics and what they do. You know, here's one of their tactics right here: psychology-based influence techniques. Ladies and gentlemen, when I told you they have this laid out in a freaking handbook, they do. They literally have this in a handbook. It's all here. They even have the names of the operations that they conduct. If you think I'm full of crap, look it up yourself. Do your own investigation. You'll see. This has been going on, since 9/11. It's been going on for a long time. And when people started publicizing information on Planet X in 2012, 2013, 2014, there wasn't a lot of credible information out there because these objects were, they were kind of out there. But, we uncovered one that moved its way in 2007, orbited right around the sun, and they're calling it the moon. Mm. And they make all kinds of simulations in their debunking videos, overlays. I mean, come on, man. Give me a break. They use big words, fancy mathematical equations, and you don't know what they're talking about, but it sounds credible, so you believe it.
Yes, Scott, and they don't explain why the object in the EUVI images actually reflects ultraviolet light on the side facing the detector. And the only way it can do that is if it's in the sun's corona. So it cannot be the moon. The moon cannot go into the sun's corona.
That's correct. The doctor's gone over this many, many times. Many, many, many times. So listen, we're going to just, put this to rest. You guys can believe whoever you want to. Hey, it's a free country. I hate to use that terminology because I guess it kind of isn't. Mm-hmm. But do you see the logo on the NSA? Do you see the symbol in the triangle? Doc, tell them about that symbol.
Well, that's the all-seeing eye. Basically, it's the devil controlling the world. That's what they represent. And it goes with what the trolls are. Basically, they act like demons, discrediting and lying about people. But basically, all they're doing is proving that what we are about is the truth, and they are about lying and covering up the truth.
Exactly. Well, listen, Doc, I think we wasted enough time on Chris Potter shenanigans and the troll factions. So listen, folks, I mean, you all know that this information that they put out, it's all a bunch of crap, Yeah. But I bust their balls too. I agitate them. I take it right to them. And they know it. And they hate me for it. Because usually their intimidation tactics, they work with the other YouTube channels, but they don't work with me. I mean, hey, just like Jake said in their live stream the other day, who in the hell calls me at 7 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday and wakes me up? So I do that to them. I call him. Hey, I got a cell phone number. Hey, what are you doing? And he, cusses me out. It's Sunday morning, mother effer. What are you calling me for? Just to agitate you, like you do me. An eye for an eye. That's the way I was raised. I'm sorry. I go for the jugular vein. Anyways, anyhow, and anywho. Doctor, let's talk about this report, cosmic rays from the sun and earthquake activity, because, ladies and gentlemen, me waking up this morning, and I was up, I think it was like 5 a.m. I actually slept in. Yes. 5 a.m., firing up my computer, kick-starting it, and boom, what do I see? All hell breaking loose, transformers blowing up in Northridge, California, earthquakes all over the planet, including Yellowstone and another swarm just a few miles north up there in Lincoln, Montana. Again, there's a lot going on. You know, the doctor, she's not the only one making these observations. Okay, there's millions of other people making these observations. Okay, she just has the cojones to step up to the plate and talk about it, just like I do. So, Doc, the stage is yours.
Okay, thank you, Scott. So this is, it's a very short article. I'm just explaining that the moment that we have a coronal hole facing the Earth, we are going to get cosmic rays coming off the sun. And these cosmic rays are made up of 90% protons, 9% helium nuclei or alpha particles, and 1% heavier nuclei. Now, these particles are relativistic, so they travel very fast. So the moment you have a coronal hole facing the Earth, these particles are going to impact the Earth's atmosphere. And they go right through the magnetosphere because they are so fast and energetic. They hit the atmosphere, they hit atmospheric particles, and they do one or two things. They can eject particles from the atmosphere, from that nucleus, or they can shatter the nucleus, which then breaks up into other particles. And then we have particle creation and annihilation. And we get a whole lot of other particles. Some of them are called mesons, pions, kaons, and so on. And some of these particles do reach the surface of the Earth, and they can disrupt DNA and destroy cells, so they can be cancer causing. Neutrons are always emitted. And yes, and these neutrons are also extremely damaging. And they also ionize the ionosphere and cause currents in the ionosphere. And then these currents will induce other currents on the surface of the Earth and inside the Earth, in the outer core of the Earth, which heats up the magma, places pressure on the crust, and leads to earthquakes. And here is the diagram that I have drawn. Most of the time, most of the surface of the Earth is covered with magnetic field lines that loop around. So that's what we see on the top there of the sun, is looping magnetic field lines. So the particles that come out of the surface of the sun follow these magnetic field lines, so they loop back towards the surface of the sun. But in coronal holes, what we have is the magnetic field lines heading straight out from the sun. And these particles therefore accelerated from inside the surface of the sun and accelerated outwards. And these then, some of them will reach relativistic speeds, and these are the cosmic rays that eventually hit the planet because they travel so fast. Remember, the speed of light is such that it takes 8 minutes for light to travel from the sun to the Earth. So the moment the coronal hole faces the Earth, we are going to get hit by some of these particles, which is why we often see earthquakes going off almost immediately after a coronal hole faces our planet. And then we will also get the slower particles, which are the fast solar wind. That takes about 2 days to reach the Earth, and that eventually hits the magnetosphere. And this is what happened this morning. The magnetosphere got hit by fast solar wind, and yet the predictor models were not predicting such a high impact as we actually got, because the number of earthquakes that we experienced today was such that I think the impact was much greater than any of the predictor models showed.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt about that. We checked that out this morning, and
Yes.
It was bad.
So I think either what left the sun was much more energetic than what was shown, or the stellar winds from these other particles, other objects, and we know these are in the solar system. This is what they are trying to hide from the whole planet. The whole planet's population is the fact that there are objects around the sun, and these objects are stellar objects or stellar remnants, and I call them brown dwarf stars, and they are able to emit a lot of particles that also impact our magnetosphere and cause a lot of problems, and will lead to these kinds of earthquakes.
Doc, let me ask you something.
Yes.
Let me just put this out there real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think people have such a hard time believing in another stellar, a substellar or stellar object coming into our solar system? Why do you think people have such a hard time believing that?
The reason for that is because we have been taught for many years that you get one star with a planetary system and that there is a huge distance between stars. But the fact is that we have had comets coming into the solar system for thousands of years, and that recently there have been more and more comets. These comets come from outside the solar system. The brown dwarf stars we have coming into the solar system are in many ways similar to these comets. But people have been brainwashed into thinking that we have the sun and we have planets around the sun, and we basically have empty space around our sun, which is then isolated from the rest of the galaxy. And it turns out that's not the truth. Our sun is traveling through the galaxy and is encountering many new spaces. And these spaces are not as empty as we have been led to believe. This is why there are so many comets coming in.
Exactly. You know, I referred to this one time as walking down the streets of New York from one end of the neighborhood to the other.
Mm-hmm.
And what? You're not going to encounter all kinds of different things in a big city.
Mm-hmm.
And the galaxy is the big city.
Yes.
And as we move through the galaxy, everything flying around us. Look, folks, if you ever get a chance, you know, and you look at the LASCO coronagraph imaging, I was talking to the doctor about it this morning.
Mm-hmm.
And I said to her, I said, you know, this just baffles me. Look at the amount of objects whipping around, flying around at millions of miles per hour. These objects are bigger than the Earth,
Mm-hmm.
moving at speeds that are just unfathomable.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't hear nothing about it.
Yes.
You know, we hear about a near Earth object every now and then. I mean, these objects are freaking huge.
That's right.
Yeah, they may be 93 million miles away, or maybe even a little further than that. But space is full, man.
Mm.
It's full.
Yes.
There's stuff everywhere.
Yes, and the inner solar system especially is full because these objects, as we now know, as the evidence I have seen has shown me, are attracted to the sun. So they come in like comets, but they are dark initially, so they are not seen, and they come right up to the sun, and they not just objects alone. They come with planetary systems, they come with debris fields, they come with ionized gas surrounding them. And this ionized gas then is left inside the inner solar system. So as more and more of these objects come in, we get more and more ionized gas and debris and extra planets inside the solar system, and especially inside the inner solar system, because that's where they all are heading, right towards the sun.
I'm bringing up the SOHO coronagraph for everybody just for a minute.
Okay.
I just want to show it to them.
Okay.
I just want them to see the craziness that's out there. And if you think for 1 minute that there is no possibility, a little bit more so everybody can see it.
Mm-hmm.
For 1 minute that there is no chance of any of these objects solar system at any time, boy, you better think again.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I've noticed that the SETI images are full of gas and debris. I have actually studied it. It's not background objects. Because when we saw that large circle, we could see that these objects were in front of that circle. You know, that large circle that was often seen in SETI images. And that had to be that these objects are closer than that large circle that was usually shown, which was probably hiding one of these large objects. And so these objects, these dots that we see here, are actually debris and planets inside the inner solar system. And this is what I saw, I have noticed in the SETI images. And from then on, I knew these are not background stars. These are actually objects inside the solar system.
You know, ladies and gentlemen, I know some of you might have seen me show you UFOs, huge spacecraft I capture all the time on the coronagraph. I mean, these these are huge ships. They are literally all around our solar system, all around the galaxy, all around the universe. I capture them all the time right here on the coronagraphs. I mean, just take a look. Oh, I just spotted something there. I mean, I literally sit sometimes for hours and I find these objects because, oh, there was another one. You know, I mean, you can go step by step and you could take frame by frame and you could start looking for these objects. Wonder what that is right there.
Well, that's definitely not a background star. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, well,
that's an object in the solar system.
I'm kind of curious now. You know, folks, excuse me, I've sat for hours on end looking at these objects. I'm just kind of curious. Let's see what this is. Might be a planet. Oh, it looks like a spaceship. Doesn't it?
It does indeed.
I mean, check it out. Do all of you see that right there?
It does, because it's symmetrical.
I don't know. What do you guys think in the chat? Let me know what you think. Does that look like a UFO? And look at the size of it. Look, this white circle right here is the sun. That's the size of the sun. Look at the size of that object. What do you think? Somebody, make a comment in the chat. What do you think that is? Somebody says there's no such thing as aliens. Listen, you saw who was in the last U.S. election, Hillary Clinton. I think she's a reptilian. So yes, there are aliens. But yeah, there's no doubt, folks. You know, you could go to BP Earthwatch. Go to his website. He has all of the links for all of this. You could have a good time on his website. He has a fantastic website, and you can start going through all of this yourself. And I mean, you could start educating yourself on what's in our solar system and what's happening. You know, I'm going to try to find me one more. But, the doctor's been doing a fantastic job for just a little over a year now. What is this?
Yes, it's another one. It may actually be a planet, but it's not a known planet in the solar system. It would have to be one of the planets that came in with the brown dwarf stars.
Yeah, very, very interesting things that go on the coronagraphs. This red one, as I'll just call it for all of you, this one, you can catch these objects really, really good. and you can just click through by using the step button, meaning step from one frame to another. You know, I mean, we could take a look at this massive object right here. I mean, this object is huge. So if you think for 1 minute, look at the size of this thing.
Yeah.
Look at that. I mean, that's a massive object whipping through our solar system. So, you know, ladies and gentlemen, the point that I'm trying to make is, yes, it is very, very possible that there are massive objects. There can be objects in our solar system that we don't know about, and the possibilities that our governments do not want us to know about these things because they are going to wreak havoc on our planet. We are already seeing this. I publicized all of this information last year. I talked to all of you about it throughout the winter time in the Northern Hemisphere, throughout November and December and January and February. And I told all of you, moving into the month of May 2017, things were going to start to change drastically. Did I lie to any of you? No, I did not. Have things changed drastically? Yes, they have. Are things going to get worse? Yes, they are. It's going to be a very slow progression. It's not going to be something that just happens 1, 2, 3 overnight. But yes, there will be overnights when you wake up in the morning and there's going to be massive disasters all around the world. And we're already seeing it. We're already seeing it. So stick with us. Stick with the information. Knowledge is power. I've said that before. I'll say it again. Knowledge is power. We need the power. We need the knowledge. Doctor, this report that you have here,
yes,
I've been intrigued by these reports that you've done before. And ladies and gentlemen, if you saw the other day, the sun shaking around on the SDO imaging. Now, some say that's due to them kind of refocusing it. Remember, that's a 48-hour loop. So whenever they're playing that 48-hour loop, it really looks like it's like jumping all over the place and it's real erratic and crazy looking, you know, but sometimes, you know, we're looking at this and the doctor takes these images apart frame by frame. And what she sees are cutoff lines. And she'll explain that. So go ahead, Doc.
Right. So this is from July 5th, 2017. This is when cutoff lines were used. And I have seen these cutoff lines being used before. Now, don't forget that it takes work to place cutoff lines in all these images. Because what is happening is SDO is sending a live feed to NASA. NASA then selects several images and, you know, it's like an image every minute or image every 50 seconds. And they have to have people to add these cutoff lines to each and every image. So it's a lot of work. So what I'd like to say is there is no reason to use cutoff lines unless there is something they want to hide. No reason. Why would they go to all this work if they didn't want to hide something? And the truth is they use these cutoff lines to hide objects that go into the sun's corona and to hide the fact that the sun is going dark. And this is another thing that they are trying to hide. And that is the fact that the sun is going dark. I discovered this last year, that the sun was going dark. I am completely convinced that the sun is going dark, and it changes everything about what we know about the universe, about the laws of the universe. It has led me to rethink everything that I have learned as a physicist regarding the laws of the universe, the fact that the sun is actually going dark. And they are using these cutoff lines to hide that fact. And this is what I show in this article. So we have objects going into the sun's corona. Now, don't forget, these objects cannot be planets. Planets would be destroyed if they went into the sun's corona, which is at 1,000,000 degrees Kelvin. Now, these are not planets. These are stars. Stars can handle this sort of energy. They thrive in this sort of energy and temperature. These are so-called brown dwarf stars. Where do these brown dwarf stars come from? Well, don't forget that main sequence stars eventually run out of a certain amount of energy and start aging. And they go through the red giant phase, then they become white dwarf stars, and then they become brown dwarf stars as they cool down. So these are what I call these brown dwarf stars that go into the sun's corona. They are able to rejuvenate. They absorb energy from the sun. They absorb plasma from the sun. And they often come in groups. This is also why we have several cutoff lines being used at a time. So we see here in the second image, the blue arrow indicates the first cutoff line. If you compare the first image with the second image, you see that part of the corona is being cut off right there. Why is that? Because there's something in the corona that is being hidden. And then in the third image, you see the cutoff line is brought even closer to the surface of the sun. And that is because the object they are trying to hide is moving in closer to the surface of the sun. In the fourth image, I use a red arrow because we can see it's not a cutoff line as such, but the corona itself has shrunk. And this is usually the first sign that the sun is about to go dark. We see this in the SDO eclipse season as well, where the corona often shrinks as darkness approaches or starts to envelop the sun. And these are 21.1 nanometer images, ultraviolet images from July 5th, 2017, from 1627 to 1647 UTC.
Interesting.
Yes. Yes, thank you, Scott. So as we can see, cutoff lines are used. There's one at the top, there's one on the left, and the fact that at least two cutoff lines there are used means there are at least two objects in the sun's corona. These objects do not even come alone. They come in groups of 2 or 3, sometimes more.
Very interesting. Yeah, we've seen them do this many times. You know,
Yeah.
it's almost now like maybe once a month or once every other month.
That's right.
We see this occurrence.
Mm-hmm. So here we see, this is the continuation. So it's more images in the 21.1 nanometer. The first image in figure 2 is the last image we saw in figure 1. And then the next one is a few minutes later. I think it's 5 or 10 minutes later. And we actually see in the top left corner, the jagged edge. It's not a cutoff line. It's actually a boundary between light and darkness. Above that jagged edge, the sun is dark. And below it, it's still emitting light, ultraviolet light in the 21.1 nanometer wavelength. So we actually see there evidence that the sun has gone partially dark in this wavelength, at least up to the edge indicated by the red arrow. This is the evidence the sun is going dark.
Yeah,
That's
you can't deny that. And you know what? I don't even know how many countless times that we've seen this occurrence.
That's right.
And actually, we've seen it way worse than this.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Yeah, we've seen it way worse than what you're seeing right up in here. We've seen it way worse than that.
That's right. And during the SDO eclipse season, the sun goes completely dark, progressively darker in all wavelengths. At these times, it usually only goes partially dark. But during the SDO eclipse season, it goes completely dark. And it goes dark for about 24 days in a row for 1 hour each day. And that is because the object causing it has a regular orbit, and it keeps coming back to the sun and causing the sun to have a discharge surface and go dark.
Interesting. Very
yes.
interesting.
Right. So in this third image, now we see, so there the sun was going dark in the top left corner. And then what happens is it goes dark on the left. So there's obviously an object there. And then in that second image, we see it's actually looks like a cutoff line is being used there, curved cutoff line. There is a little bit of a jagged edge towards the top of that curved cutoff line, because we see it's not exactly round there. But it means the fact that they are using this rounded cutoff line is again another indication that the sun is now going dark in the bottom left corner. Yes.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that.
Yes. So these objects actually go around the sun. They go from the left, the top left corner to the bottom left corner, and they go around, and the sun progressively, I mean, it goes dark on all the corners at different times. They actually seem to be orbiting the sun and causing darkness on different sides of it. So yes, this is what's happening here.
Am I on the right path here, panning down for you?
Yes, you are. So there you see that the sun next goes dark in the top right corner. So the objects have moved to that corner. And we see in that third image, again, a jagged edge right there showing, yeah, so in that's the second image. We see a little bit of a jagged edge there. So the cutoff line, the rounded cutoff line, it's still indicating, that's right, that the sun is going dark on that side, the top right corner of the sun.
So they're really trying to,
yes,
they're trying to keep this away from you. There's a big interaction with these brown dwarfs. Even just one of them interacting with the sun, and all we have been seeing since last year are these big Earth facing coronal holes.
That's
they
right.
start coming from the left-hand side of the sun. They start opening up, and by the time they open up completely, they're dead on facing the sun. Folks, it's too coincidental. Okay, it's too coincidental that every single one of these coronal hole openings in the sun's atmosphere is facing our planet.
That's right.
Okay, I mean, this is what they're trying to cover up. There's been a massive coronal hole on the top of the sun. It was there almost, maybe all of the year of 2016, going into 2017. I'm talking about right up here. Then they just keep on forming. And then on top of that, we have this huge sunspot turning towards us. It's
yes.
Hopefully we don't have a big problem with it in the next few days.
Yes, and I've written many times about the fact that these coronal holes always look larger when they face the Earth. And to me, that's evidence of the fact that there is one of these objects that has an orbit that is very close to the Earth's orbit and is actually shadowing the Earth. So it's very close to the Earth. It's either right behind the Earth or right in front of the Earth, but very close to the Earth. And this is why these coronal holes are so large when they face the Earth. There has to be an object very close to where the Earth is that is increasing the size or causing these coronal holes to increase the size. Because don't forget, these coronal holes are due to a magnetic connection between these objects and the sun. So there has to be a large magnetic field behind the Earth, or just in front or to the left or to the right, but very close to the Earth, that is causing these coronal holes to increase in size. Now, in figure 5, I then look at what happens in the other wavelengths. This is the 9.3 nanometer wavelength. And at a certain time, don't forget all these images are given to us at slightly different times. They don't give us exactly the same time for every single wavelength. They select certain times and pull out the image and give it to us with HelioViewer, because we don't get the continuous feed that NASA gets. Now, I discovered that in the 19.3 nanometer, they gave us image, say the center one is at 1651/16. And in that image, we can actually see the sun is out of focus. And that means that it's actually moving. The sun jolts, and I have seen this before. This interaction between the sun and this other object causes the sun to actually move. This is not SDO moving. This is the sun actually moving and reacting to this object, and it is unbelievable that this is actually happening. So this is why the sun is out of focus in this image. And we actually see the cutoff line as well that we've seen in the 21.1 nanometer. And this means that the sun is also going dark in the 9.3 nanometer wavelength. That's right. We see that cutoff line there. And then we see it in the 33.5 nanometer. And again, we see the sun going dark in that wavelength. That's right. And
very interesting. Very interesting.
Yes, and it is out of focus in this wavelength as well, showing that the sun is actually moving at the time that this image was taken. So the sun was actually moving in response to these objects being in the corona. This is how powerful the magnetic field connection between the sun and these objects are at this time, that they actually can cause the sun to jolt.
That would be a scary situation to like actually see that, you know. I mean, other than what we see on the SDO.
Yes.
You know, I mean, I know on the SDO it looks like it's happening real fast because it's a 48-hour time loop.
Yeah. The reason why we see that in that time loop is because, do you see where that cutoff line is in the second image? Yeah. They actually take that cutoff line and place it at the edge of the image. So when you place that edge where it's not supposed to be, it seems like the sun has moved to the left. And this is what they are doing. They're placing whatever edge of the cutoff line is at the edge of that movie maker. And so the sun seems to be moving to the left, and then there will be a cutoff line to the right, and then they place that right cutoff line again at the edge of the image. So it looks like the sun then moves right. And this is what causes the sun to actually move. Because don't forget, what we're actually seeing, that jolt, it happens within a few seconds. It does not happen over the course of hours. And in that loop that we see, that movement would have been over courses of hours. But here, it's only over a few seconds. The actual jolting.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's very interesting. You know, like I said, we see this, you know, maybe once a month or, you know, once every other month, but
yes.
Yeah, we've been seeing it quite a bit. Mm. There's no doubt about it.
Yes, I actually then looked at every single wavelength that the SDO detects at the 1652, which is, if you see that fourth image, that's the 21.1 nanometer. That's where we see that jagged edge, which is clear evidence that the sun is going dark. So the sun is dark above that jagged edge, and there's light emission below it. So that's the fourth image, the purple image. We can see that. In a lot of, that's right there. So that is clear evidence the sun is going dark because of that jagged edge, which is a boundary between light and darkness. But we see an edge in every single wavelength as well. Some of them are jagged as well. The 33.5 is definitely jagged as well. If we show a close-up of it, you'll see the jagged edge. The red one is the 30.5. We can also see a jagged edge there. The sun is dark above it. There's light emission below it.
Yeah, where's the rest of it there?
Exactly. This is clearly the sun is dark above that boundary. And in the next one, the red one, which is the 30.4 nanometer, and then the 33.5, which is the blue one, we also see jagged edges, which is again clear evidence that the sun is going dark in these wavelengths. And then because we know it's going dark in these wavelengths, even if we don't see a jagged edge in the other ones, we know that there is at least an edge there because the sun is going dark in every single wavelength. Because we see the different shape, even in the 450 nanometer, which is the visible light, the only visible light wavelength that the sun detects, and that would be, yes, that's the 19.3. We don't see a jagged edge there, but the fact that there is an edge at all shows you that the sun is going dark in all these wavelengths. And this first one is the 9.4, which is X-rays. There is a little bit of a jagged edge there. It's not smooth, completely smooth. So we see the sun's going dark in the X-ray emission, and it's going dark in every single ultraviolet emission it has or is detected by SDO. This is the 21.1, the purple one.
Yeah, you can see it clearly on this one. Really,
that's right. Very clearly. This is where it is most clear. It's in the 21.1. You see a little bit of a jagged edge. I think this is the 160 nanometer. That's right. And the next one is the 170 nanometer. And we can see the dark edge there, which is, again, not completely smooth. And then the visible light is the last one, the yellow one. And we see by the shape of the sun that it's going dark in visible light as well. So the sun on the 5th of July at 1652 lost partial light emission in visible light. And we did not see the sun change its shape in the sky because, of course, they have sun simulators, which hide the fact from the population. And the other thing we see is that the shape of the sun in the different wavelengths is different. So if we look at the shape of the sun in the visible light image, we see that it's different from what it is in the image next to it in the 170 nanometer. And what does that show? That shows that the sun is actually going dark at different rates in the different wavelengths. So it will lose more light emission in certain wavelengths than others, which is the same thing that I also see in the SDO eclipse season, which is to be expected because the different light emissions come from different levels on the sun. The visible light emission comes from the photosphere. The 170 comes from the chromosphere, which is above that. So the sun goes progressively darker at different rates at the different levels as these objects affect its emission.
Incredible. And I do believe that we will definitely see more of this as time goes on. I think we're going to see more situations with our sun on a daily basis, like we have been for what the last 2 years now. I mean, we're halfway through 2017. and things are not getting any better. They're actually getting worse progressively.
Mm-hmm.
And was that the end of your report, Doctor?
I think there was actually just one more image.
Oh yeah, here we go.
Yeah, so this is where I show that the different shapes are different. As you can see at the edge on the top, the intersection of the cutoff line with the diagonal edge, or you can see that the cutoff line looks larger, or the intersection with where the sun actually is still emitting light. So it's larger in the X-ray than it is in the 170 nanometer. And it's even smaller in the visible light. You see the straight line intersection with the colored part of the sun is much smaller in the yellow image, which is the visible light emission. It's a little larger in the middle one, and it's even larger in the X-ray. And that means that the sun loses visible light faster than it loses the 170 nanometer. It loses it faster in visible light. So it's even more affected in visible light, which is the major emission of our star. It's visible light emission from the photosphere, which has to do with its temperature of about 5,800 Kelvin. And this is astounding that the sun is so affected in visible light. And again, the reason why we are not seeing this has to be hidden from the population. And this is why they are using these sun simulators to hide the fact that this is happening with our sun. It is a huge thing that is happening in the solar system. And this is why this is the largest, the biggest cover-up in the history of the world. They are covering up something huge from the Earth's population, what is actually happening with our sun because of these objects being in the inner solar system and affecting our star.
Well, there's no doubt about it. I definitely agree with you in on that aspect. I mean, this is by far up in the entire world.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's no doubt about it.
That's right.
We're gonna take a quick look. What's happening on the SDO right now on the 48-hour loop. We're gonna have everybody take a look at it with us.
Yes.
Now you've seen the coronal hole
mm-hmm.
that was Earth facing is now moving off to the right.
That's right.
You can see already the sun's corona right here starting to separate, starting to split, dissipate.
Yes.
What do we have here? Another coronal hole here, another coronal hole here. And this is the Sunspot AR 2665. Am I correct,
That's
Doctor?
right. That's right. And it did have an M-class solar flare. So that is evidence that our sun is not as weak as some people thought. It is still capable of M-class flares. It is still capable of active sunspots. So it's not as weak. I mean, it is getting darker because of all the coronal holes, and the coronal holes, as I have explained, is due to these objects opening up and connecting magnetically with the sun, and the corona is getting darker and weaker, and yet it still has sunspots. And the reason why it has sunspots is that these objects seem to actually cause the sun to become more active in certain ways. And I've seen that from the 2007 images, where the sun can go dark and then suddenly it activates again and seems to almost want to push these objects away. And then it again goes dark. It's like there is a dance between these objects and the sun is acting and reacting to these objects.
Wow, look at the action going on
It's
this
unbelievable.
sunspot.
That's right. And it is turning towards the sun. I mean, towards the Earth. The sun is turning towards the Earth. And this sunspot group has already been shown to be quite active and to have M-class flares. And as you know, our magnetosphere is under heavy pressure because of the extrastellar winds. So an M-class flare will not help with our problem with earthquake activity and with power grid problems. This will probably make matters worse.
Yeah, you're going to get a real good look at some action over here to the left side of the sun right here. You're going to see a lot of action right here. This is the sunspot that we're referring to, AR 2665.
Mm-hmm.
There was a pretty nice flare right there. You could see it almost forms like an X.
Mm-hmm. These are X-ray flares. They are seen in X-rays, and there was an M-class. An M-class is a reasonably sized solar flare, and it can lead to problems with communications. And I believe this one did in the east and over Australia.
Wow, look at that. That's pretty active there, you know. And
Oh yes,
you know, I kind of noticed today, you know, when reading some of the NOAA reports early in the morning, they kind of downplayed it.
Yes.
In the NOAA report, and then, you know, I think it was around noon, they changed it a little bit. You know, they moved it up to like a 60% chance. And then, you know, when you're taking a look at this, you're thinking to yourself, wow, look at that. A lot of action going on.
That's definitely, it's a very active region. It's dense, it's a magnetic field dense area, and this causes this kind of flaring that we see. I often think of it, it looks like a volcano on the sun. It's so active. And it's beautiful to watch, but it's definitely very active and dangerous for our planet, because these solar flares, when they impact our magnetosphere, they ionize the ionosphere, and they cause induced currents on the surface of the Earth. They can cause transformers to blow up, and they put pressure on the power grid, and they cause earthquakes because they induce current inside the Earth, in the mantle, and so on.
Well, here's our X-ray view. It's loading now. And this is coming from the GOES satellite. You're looking at an X-ray view of the sun.
And as you can see,
you can really see here.
Definitely, we can see the large X-ray coronal hole there, which again is not normal. The sun is not supposed to have such a large coronal hole. This is produced by the fact that we have so many of these brown dwarf stars in the solar system. They are draining the sun, they're causing these large coronal holes. We then have cosmic rays coming out of these coronal holes. We have a lot of fast solar wind coming out of these coronal holes. They are impacting our magnetosphere, and the effects are made worse by the fact that these objects now have stellar winds. So basically, things are getting worse for our magnetosphere progressively.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Now I'm going to bring up the solar wind predictor model. We're going to take a quick look at this and see if anything has changed. See if they've updated anything here. Go ahead and just put this up to full screen for everybody.
Yes, I think there is actually something wrong with that radial velocity prediction. When we have the fact that the fast solar wind arrived before it was supposed to arrive, it had to be traveling faster. So I think the radial velocity was much higher than was predicted.
Yeah. Yeah, you could see, ladies and gentlemen, if you're new to this model, this is a solar wind prediction model. This is the Earth right here where you see my cursor, our little green dot right there. And you can see as this stream comes from the sun, you could see it developing right here where my cursor is. And it broadens pretty quick. I mean, this is a very broad strike.
Yes.
As you can see, on or about the 13th through the 14th, going into the 15th, we're still in it. We're still in it. And we're only on the 9th.
Yes.
You know, and I mean, look what happened today with transformers blowing up in California, power outages here and there, and, you know, very startling with the earthquake activity. I mean, that was when I looked at that at 5 o'clock in the morning, I saw all those earthquakes, all in the high 4s and mid 5s. I was saying to myself, wow, this is going to be one hell of a day for people that live in earthquake activity zones.
Yes.
It's going to be one hell of a day. And we've already seen, you know, quite a bit of earthquake activity throughout the day. You know, and I've been trying to keep up on it, but, you know, things are developing and happening so fast all around the world. I mean, again, you know, I've stated this fact over and over and over again. You know, things were going to start out progressively. Well, I don't want to use the word progressively, but they're going to start out slowly, and then things are going to progress. And I think we're actually seeing that progression like we did last year around the same time. You know, I mean, look at the amount of earthquakes. What do we got going over here?
Yes, lots of earthquakes.
Magnitude 2.9 over there in Nevada. Let's see if we got anything strange going on here real quick. You know, we saw some really, really deep earthquakes, which are very, very, you know, those are bad. Pakistan, a 4.7.
Yeah.
Not very deep. Not very deep here in New Zealand. Now this one's really deep.
Yeah, that one has to be in the mantle. Don't forget the crust is only 100 kilometers deep. So this is definitely an earthquake in the mantle.
Wow.
And, yeah.
That's very deep, you know, 463 kilometers. Wow, that's getting down in there, folks. Those were deep earthquakes. I know I was looking at the my earthquake 3D earlier. We were live streaming that.
Yes.
And let me just get this open for a second, because there were some really deep earthquakes right here.
Oh, there's one there.
You look at these long lines like this.
Yes.
I mean, this is a really deep earthquake right here.
That's north of New Zealand.
Yeah, these are very, very deep.
Definitely.
Yeah, let me pull this up here because, oops.
And this is due to magma movement deep down within the Earth. And this magma will, of course, cause magma to move up towards the crust and, I believe, lead to larger earthquakes closer to the surface.
Let me see something here. I just want to check something out here. Take off some of these earthquakes. Earthquake, yeah. I'm just trying. I wanted to take a look at these deep earthquakes here. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of them.
There are lots of them, Scott.
Yeah, we were just looking at these, and we have another deep earthquake down here. And you know, you could tell on this this 3D earthquake tracker. If you guys watch Dutch Sense, he manipulates this globe like it's part of his, you know, part of his anatomy. He doesn't,
Yes.
you know, but you
Yeah.
can tell by the length of these lines. This will tell you the depth, that these are very, very deep earthquakes. These very deep earthquakes. This is just bad news.
Yes.
You know.
And I'd like to add, Scott, that when the magnetosphere is hit by fast solar wind, the effect on the ionosphere lasts 4 days. And what happens in the ionosphere will lead to induced currents inside the Earth, and therefore we can expect increased earthquake activity for not just today, but for the next 3 days as well.
Yeah, there's still some action going on over here near Yellowstone.
Yes.
Yeah, there's quite a bit. You know, that was on my mind here today whenever I saw more earthquakes in that, I think it's just a little south of Lincoln, Montana. And then there was, I think there was 1 or 2 sizable earthquakes in Yellowstone, you know, and that just, you know, that just gets me going right there. You know, I mean, anything happens in that Yellowstone area, we got a big, big problem worldwide.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, we could see the activity here. Let me see if I could spin this baby around a little bit. You could see the stacks of earthquakes. 2.6, 2.7, 2.7, 2.8, 2.8, 3.2, 3.0.
Yes.
I mean, we got them going on, man. We got earthquakes going on all over the globe. And these are not all of the earthquakes. This is just some of the feeds from some of the seismology offices. There's more than what you see here on this globe.
Yes.
That's what is scary. You know, what's happening down along the coast of South America. Again, I mean, look at all these.
Mm-hmm.
Some of these are deep.
Yes.
Very, very deep. And we're seeing a lot of earthquakes directly on fault lines. Directly on fault lines. Here's a 4.9. That's a fault line right there, running right through the center of the Atlantic Ocean.
It's the Mid-Atlantic Ridge.
Yep. Yeah. So, you know, ladies and gentlemen, you know, each and every day there is so much happening around the world. It's becoming very, very chaotic. And again, you know, if you can't see this with your own eyes, you know, I mean, all too often people say, oh, you're fear mongering. You're fear mongering. Whatever, man. Whatever you say. What we're looking at is real life. It is what is happening.
Yes, it's the truth, Scott.
Yes. And like I say all the time, we're living in the sign of the times. It's just the bottom line. It's reality.
That's right.
Hopefully, nothing major happens, but I don't see it that way.
No.
You know, that's the bad part. You
the
know,
thing is,
I don't see things getting better. I see them getting worse.
Yes, and I think, as I always say, that it is better to know that things are not getting better. It's better that people prepare themselves to face what they have to face. And I believe that the best way to face these negative times is to get to know our Creator and to seek His help and seek His protection. And ultimately, if we die, to be able to be with Him. So this is why I believe people need to know the truth, so they can prepare themselves spiritually for what is to come.
You know, and like the doctor says, you know, being prepared spiritually, but, you know, in another aspect, there's nothing wrong with being prepared, period.
That's
right. You know, preparing yourself, preparing your family, taking precautions, learning about the information, you know, that's That's what we're really here for.
That's
We're
right.
here to bring you the information so you understand it. Maybe, you learn how to use some of the models that we're using. Maybe you start taking a look at some of this stuff on your own. Maybe you learn how to read these models yourself. And maybe, one day you join us in these investigations and you really add something to it. Like I said before, the more of us there are, it's all about numbers. People all around the world are joining in, making the observations, and that's what it's all about. I have so many subscribers that send in critical information every single day because as much as I would like to have my eyes on the whole entire planet and everything happening around the world every minute of the day, it's impossible. But you guys, the viewers, the subscribers, man, you guys really make this tick because you are gathering the information. And I don't know about other YouTube channels, but I know the people that are involved with me here, they're really into it. They're really into helping me. And again, folks, I'm sorry I can't personally respond to each and every one of you. I would need like a 48-hour regular day to get that done. But I do look at the information very, very quickly. And the majority of it, I do go right to it. And I'm gathering as much as I can in the time that I have. And over the last couple of weeks, my observations, I just see things progressively getting worse. And I'm not trying to be like, Donnie Downer here, but the fact of the matter is, you just looked at the evidence. You just saw it with your own eyes. And, I hope and pray every single day that, we could all wake up to a beautiful sunshiny day and this all just goes away with the wind, boom, it's gone. But that's not reality.
Yeah.
The reality is we have a problem. It's being covered up. We've discussed that. We know the governments do that. There's not too much that we can do about them hiding things because we know they do it. But we just have to stick together. You can't believe these other individuals that are out there trying to, dumb you down or fake you out or make you believe that everything is just okay. And like I've said before, just because it's not critically happening in your neighborhood or your neck of the woods, it doesn't mean that, one of your brothers or sisters on the other side of the world is not experiencing this, because they are. And eventually it's going to come full circle and it's going to be right in your backyard. So that's the time to be prepared. That's the time to utilize the information and learn about what's happening. That's what we're here for. Bottom line, I think the doctor does a fantastic job of making her observations, taking into consideration everything that she's given up to, get to this point. I mean, that's commendable, and the last year of my life has disappeared so fast. I mean, I could just remember last July and August. And now here we are a year later, and things aren't any better. They're getting worse.
Mm-hmm.
My biggest fears. But, we're going to keep on, at this. This is what we're here to do. Myself and the doctor both believe that this is kind of like our calling. I've talked about it before, and so has she.
Yes.
And, there are things in destiny that bring people together at certain points in time. And we both believe that this is the time.
Mm-hmm.
And, this is kind of what, God has pointed both of us in the direction to do. And that's why he's given us the will, he's given us the way. And you folks, well, listen, you're the eyes and the ears, and you're also part of us. You know, you're just not the viewers, you know, this
Yes.
labeled subscribers. You know, we're all in this together. We're
Yes.
all equal.
And Scott, you know, I'm always amazed at how fast you learn. You are so intelligent, and you actually working like a scientist, a physicist now. And I really like that. I like the fact that we do these observations together and we work things out together. And what I try to do as well in my articles is expose people to the way physics can be done, how observations can be used. And it's so nice that so many people are joining us now as well in these observations. I really enjoy that about what we are doing.
Yeah, I mean, I do enjoy that also. And you know, I mean, I really hated to start our live stream today with, you know, a bunch of BS, ladies and gentlemen, but you know, sometimes you have to get it out there. You know, you have to scrub the dog shit off the bottom of your shoe. That's what we did in the beginning. My apologies. I don't have any apologies for anybody. I don't have any apologies for Chris Potter. I don't have any apologies for anybody. My apologies will be extended to you, that, you know, you guys have to be exposed to this, but it also involves you to the extent that, you know, they want to dumb you down with this information. These factions, they're after you too. Okay. They're not just after us. They're after you. They don't want you to have the information. They want you to think that we are absolutely batshit crazy.
Yes.
And as you can see, based on the evidence, based on what is happening, you know it's not true. You know it's not true. I mean, they were making up such crazy things earlier today. Those two freaks over there at WTF Sky, they're over there right now live streaming my live stream. Okay. I mean, they're over there live streaming my live stream, and Tweedledee and Tweedle Dumbass. I mean, this is what they do. And they're NSA agents. They work for the government. They get paid through a PayPal account, and all they do is make up one lie after another. And they want you to believe everything they say. They even cloned the doctor's new YouTube channel and made it look like she was commenting in the comment section of their stupid live stream last night. They will do anything to discredit her and discredit me. And the doctor was tucked away, sleeping and getting some rest. She wasn't in the live stream last night. I guess talking with Chubby over there while she was shoving donuts in her mouth.
Yes, in fact, I've never commented in a live stream, not in any live stream, not even in your own live streams. So to actually think that I would be in one of theirs is quite comical, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, I would say that it would be deplorable.
Yes.
You know, absolutely deplorable. And you know, the whole situation, I guess a lot of you have seen the Chris Potter videos and blah, blah, blah. I don't even know what to say about it. You know, I mean, it's just absolutely crazy, ludicrous. They're talking about the doctor's retirement money, a laser teeth whitening business that I was thinking about getting involved in 2 years ago. And, you know, last year I made a solid, firm commitment to divulge the information about Planet X and the brown dwarf stars and what's happening in our solar system. And yeah, I could have been tucked away with a multi-million-dollar business that I was going to start. And I chose another path, and this was the path. So
Yes.
they twist all of that, and I don't know what the hell the story was that
Yeah.
I was bringing the doctor. I was bringing the doctor all the way from South Africa.
Mm.
What was I? You were supposed to be what, like the spokesperson, or
I don't know. Apparently, I was supposed to be.
Staring down the dirty mouths of people.
Yes.
I don't know, man. They come up with some crazy freaking stories, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. They twist everything around, and
yeah. And I think they said something about you wanting to make money off me, and to tell you the truth, it's really quite the other way around, because I mean, you have helped me, you have financially helped me. So I think this is
that's right.
You've
That's
taken
right.
me under your wing, shown me around, shown me how to do things, helped me with a YouTube channel, showed me how to do all kinds of things. So it's really quite the other way around. You've gone out of your way to actually help me and use your time and your own resources to help me. So they are coming up with some crazy ideas and trying to discredit you, Scott, which is very sad, because you are really a wonderful person.
Yes, thank you. I mean, I've been, I've been getting poked, prodded, and jabbed by these idiots for a year now, and hey, I'm still here, and I don't have any scrapes, I don't have any bumps and bruises on me, nothing, And I think what they were saying yesterday, as they were shoving donuts and Big Macs into their fat faces, that you were supposed to be my new meal ticket. Oh, dear God. Yes. My meal ticket. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyhow, anywho, and anyway, as the doctor has stated, ladies and gentlemen, make your peace, man. Make your peace. Find your faith. Soak up the information. Continue to support us, back us up, and continue with the information that we're bringing each and every day. We're doing our best. Nobody is perfect, and we do try very, very hard. I mean, there is so much time invested in all of this every single day. I don't have a normal life anymore. I gave that up a year ago. The doctor has pretty much given up a normal life also. And it just comes with the territory, and we know it. We know the abuse from these other factions comes with the territory. We've accepted it. And we actually truly think that, these people are just a joke. But we understand that they're getting paid, to do this. And they must really need the money that bad. I think the price of donuts is definitely going up. And, they have to resort to these tactics. So they'll continue to make ridiculous videos about us and many others on YouTube, because this is what they're paid to do. So don't pay any attention to them. Just go about your business, gather up the information. And if you have credible information for myself and the doctor, get it over to us by email. The email is always in the description box under each of the videos. NibiruPlanetX2016@gmail.com. And remember, the doctor has opened up her own YouTube channel. We actually went ahead and converted her personal channel from, what was that? You had your channel from what, 2011, your personal channel?
Yes, 2011.
Yeah, so we converted that into a channel for her. And besides her working on her book, which chapter did you finish today? You finished chapter 3, correct?
Well, I'm not quite finished with chapter 3 yet. I'm still working on it, but yes, I'm progressing through the chapters. Let's put it that way.
Okay, that's fantastic. That's fantastic.
Yes, thank you.
Listen, can you definitely let everybody know that I don't have you chained up to a desk?
You definitely don't have me signed up for that. Definitely not. I enjoy writing. I'm enjoying doing this. I enjoy finding out what's in the solar system. And most of all, I feel led by God to do this mission, which is to tell the world the truth about what's going on in the solar system. And I believe that God has led us to do this together, Scott. And this is what we are doing.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. There's no doubt about that. Well, listen, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and end our live stream. There's another very, very busy day tomorrow. I definitely feel it coming. I believe this whole entire week, going into next weekend, is going to be very busy, very trying times. A lot of things to report on. The doctor is going to be uploading her videos onto her YouTube channel, probably, like I said, anywhere from 1 to 3 videos per day. I mean, we spent the last 2 days working on some technical issues and getting things set up for her. And we had to do some updates today, which took quite a bit of time for these downloads to go through. And she does have one video that she has completed. That's going to be uploaded within the hour. And, go over to her YouTube channel, subscribe, and you're going to be hearing directly from her. And she's going to be going through her personal reports. And these videos are a lot shorter than these live streams, because these live streams, there's a lot of commentary, a lot of things to go over. But she has already produced, I think, close to 150, possibly even more of these reports. And she's going to be uploading them each and every day to her channel. So get over there, support her, subscribe to her channel, and stay tuned. Definitely stay tuned. We'll be back tomorrow with another live stream and more reports. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for supporting myself and supporting the doctor. And God bless all of you. God bless all of you. And once again, thank you very, very much for watching. Take care.